Diploma of Distinction, Kelsey Faith Wagers. Amber Leanne Walterson. Trevor Wayne Wardrop. Kelsey Lachey Watkins. Austin Blake Weaver. David Howard Shane Whittemore. Brandon Denzel Tyler Evan Williams.
Beyond the ISS, but there's nothing like, I didn't find anything that was really suggestive in terms of a program for what that would look like. The rocket stuff that Miles referenced yesterday, yes, lots of cards, it's a big thing. I found one good solvency card for space debris cooperation. It also suggests we might want to cooperate with the Chinese. There's a piece of evidence that says one of the things that we could do kind of after the ISS is have a joint vision and potential program for crewed space flight with the Russians, maybe do some space science stuff with them, but again, wasn't suggestive about what that might look like. And then there's this controversy around Russian participation in the Lunar Gateway. We haven't given them anything that's important. Their card I included that said they're not doing anything important says they have the last module and the smallest one, and kind of implied that we don't care about it. I included that statement from Pence because it's kind of a declaration of intent about what we view U.S. lunar policy as. And so there are some folks that are kind of pushing back on that. It shouldn't be a unilateral, moon is for space for America, moon for America, make space great for America again type stuff. So there's probably an app around having the Lunar Gateway program be more international in nature, but again, I didn't find anything that was like very specific. This is what it is that we should do to do that. So yeah, some cards, yes, some literature. Can they contribute a ton to what the U.S. does? Maybe, maybe not. Is it important for U.S.-Russian prestige? Is it the one area where we don't hate each other? Yes. Maybe there's an argument for sustaining that.
So I thought the two sets of cards we had were better on addressing the concerns I came into the weekend with, that we're stepping away from Russia on space a good bit. Like, they're not holding their NISS, it's about to go away. The statement from Pence, Putin is no longer all about space and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I probably feel better about both the app and the neg being able to win actual change and stuff here, and it seems totally recent.
It also allows us to talk about ISS extinction, the issue that Kat raised yesterday. There are a bunch of senators that want to do it. I read the hearing. That Cruz held a hearing in mid-May on extending the ISS. There wasn't really, I didn't really see a card in it, but Corbin and Cruz and Nelson and a couple of other senators wanted it. Actually passed via I think a unanimous vote in the Senate last Congress, and then died in the House because the House was dysfunctional. So it may not be inherent by the end of the summer, but there's certainly interest in Congress in the ISS too, which is the Russians are how we get there. So strongly connected to U.S.-Russia space co-op.
Also seems like there's just like a set of the Wilson Center's writing a good bit about this. This Berger person, got 9 or 10 different sites from running on it. What's our concern with Russia?
I have one small one. It's actually more about a combined China and Russia topic.
Yeah.
Choosing the activities for that would be a little weird because we do a lot of different things. So like a lot of the Russia controversies are launch components and the ISS, whether or not we extend our participation in that. China might be a few different things. Well, this debris thing is similar, so maybe that's a good place to start. Just like, so.
I mean, China also wants in on the ISS. So like under an ISS kind of focus resolution, China and Russia both make sense because you could increase cooperation with the two of them, especially since we're like drawing down the ISS, right? So.
phrase. I think the Russia stuff's really good. Like, close to like we should be talking about Russia as much as we are. Like, there's a legal barrier there. There's uniqueness is better because we're doing stuff. Seems like we've got weapons arguments, launch arguments, ISS stuff. So we get to all the like deep space and orbit stuff. We get to all sorts of neat Putin, Russia.
I see Miles' concern, but I think it's not necessarily a Russia concern so much as a resolutional.
Yeah, getting
phrasing.
back to what how we phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, it
Russia.
does get to the core controversy, though,
Yes.
which, like, Pence, you know, and, like, others are speaking about, which is, it's like, no, it's a competitive unilateral race, so the question of Russian inclusion is a question of U.S. space primacy versus, like, kind of not continuing, because we, in a weird way, we're kind of ending those old efforts. So
Right.
it's like, we had a model of cooperation, we are now entering perhaps a model of primacy and unilateralism.
Yeah.
Should we return to the old model, or should we like try a unilateral model, kind of like squo neg? Yeah, to me it does seem like, based on the cards we got, yeah, some of my earlier pessimism and skepticism I think has been allayed as well. But just based on, yeah, it's like we're not like the end of the rocket co-op, which even these cards are like, yeah, like Russia's space program is basically doomed, absent like U.S. You know, involvement with them. Like, yeah, you know, that's pretty good art for the neg. It's like, yeah, we'll just let Russia's program die. Like, you know, U.S. can go it alone. We don't need the Russians. Let's not be involved with them. You know,
I think
that's a great neg position to be in. I think, you know, like, yeah.
The U.S. aerospace industry DA is also real good with Russia, and it's more unique than other things because it's kind of only starting to pop off right now. So kind of
like the UQ,
we did
yeah.
co-op for the last 2 decades doesn't make as much sense against that,
Yeah.
given all those companies
Yeah,
that really only
SpaceX,
started
yeah.
making stuff the
Yeah.
last 5 years.
And they're direct competitors, right? Like, yeah, like the cards, like they're competing with SpaceX, and like
Yeah, no,
the problem is
Russia
they're
directly
losing. Like
competes
Russia's
with
losing.
SpaceX,
Yeah.
You know, ULA, which
Yeah.
is Boeing and Lockheed.
Yeah.
What's the, like, this had just like the ISS cooperation?
I think that is a pretty good, like, 'cause in my mind, the potential for the domestic aerospace industry is like, they're going to start selling to Europe, South America, Asia, Africa, even if they lift restrictions like other folks. And so, I don't know, at least that I kind of just stumbled on this concept through that Iran human spaceflight kind of solvency card, but just the stuff that says the kind of upcoming human spaceflight from the U.S. is going to change the way the U.S. industry approaches space is pretty good. Like, I kind of ran into the same thing.
And ISS co-op is the rocket stuff, right? Like, but we're ending our launches with Russia.
No, because
so.
that's actually Russian launches that we put our people on, so
Yeah.
that I don't think is prohibited by the same legal barrier that is for rockets.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure we can't use the rockets at all.
No, we can't use. We can't.
These are
The most recent announcement is that the DoD can't buy Russian rockets for its purposes. That also has been the rule since 2016 that they're supposed to be phased out by 2022.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But by 2022, it's like no use at all.
Well,
Or just
no
like
domestic
stuff.
use, period. But that doesn't. I don't think that prohibits us from
And we're not
NASA from
buying
being
these
able to
seats,
use
though, right? Like past 2022.
Because the idea is that we
Yeah.
will have our own
Yeah.
domestic industry
Yeah.
that we won't
That's
need
just
to
an app.
buy those seats.
ISS app is like, let's buy some more seats, which is like sustains the Russian rocket industry. Yes, no. I mean,
Mm.
it's
It's
fine.
the same
I think
industry.
yeah.
You
there's
can't
some
do
overlap, but I don't
the
think it's
US,
exactly
so
the
it
same.
wouldn't
Yeah.
matter really
Yeah.
for that
If you wrote that you would write it about short-term missions before the U.S. develops its rockets anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like if you were the two
we've already
writing
established
that
those,
you
though.
would be like,
Yeah.
you should send up a missile in the interim, or you should send more people up in the interim. Here's why short-term science projects are good. Then you'd be
Yeah,
like,
ISS
yeah, we still have said we're not going to use them after 20.
It's getting phased out because it's an expensive station now, which is
Yeah,
it's
maybe a
old.
little bit
It
of
wasn't meant to be up
stuff
there this
make
long.
Concerning the ISS, maybe we want to limit what the app can do
Okay.
with respect to small missions with that.
If we don't include Russia, then we're still talking about a China only conflict, right?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, Russia is the next.
Next.
Russia's like number
tier,
2, yeah.
Right. Like, so if we don't like Russia, then we're just talking about China only.
And just make sure, you said when writing,
Which
it's
would
not
be
like we
okay,
limit
but I'm
out
just
ISS,
saying.
limit ISS cooperation over particular things.
Yeah, we would either we'd make it so send one more
Yeah,
U.S.
is it true?
astronauts on
Is
top.
it true the U.S.
I
doesn't
think
know
that's
co-op with China now?
It's a building.
Yeah, so the app could do just a little more. I mean, Clarence, you know, like, I'm just saying.
You
know.
can do some form of
Yeah.
civil
Yeah.
collaboration with them. There are very limited instances of it because people are afraid to ask Congress. So for the most
Yeah.
part, the Wolf Amendment is has such a chilling effect on any cooperation that any instance of it is very small potatoes and done at a much like sub NASA level.
I guess our concern is like AF will be really tiny and close to SCWO, levels of cooperation. It's like even China doesn't resolve that concern. It's not like we do zero with China, right? Like I think Iran is the only one that solves that.
Say at least including the Wolf Amendment.
Okay, so India stuff. So the questions that were up for last night, and EU did all of the cards or sent me the stuff that she had. I think the division of ground is just, based on what I've read, should we leave India alone and let them sort of develop their own space program, or should we get back involved? And then this ASAT thing just happened. They kind of screwed up, blew up a bunch of stuff up there. Someone said it earlier. We backed off. We're coming back to the table. It is different than Russia and China, which other people have pointed out, and that we do have some cooperation, but there are some solvency advocates. They are a little older, although I get the impression that that's just from time. We could probably find some more because there are people, and there are plenty of advocates calling for more, calling for economic reasons, and that sort of stuff. But really the controversy here is how involved and friendly do we want to be with India, because it jeopardizes our economic relationship with Pakistan and China and being involved in Asia and that sort of stuff, and then also India prestige, India going it alone, Indian economic development. I guess the reason to exclude it would be because too much cooperation now?
I also think that part of my problem with some of these DA ideas, I think they're very easily thumped by non-space cooperation.
Sure.
Because even the card in the file, the article is clearly about space, but it loses the space language, and it's just when the U.S. and India cooperate with and share technology with one another, China gets freaked out.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just the AF is going to be able to just stock cards on here's all the tech we share with India for other security reasons that aren't about space, not about our advantages. I think that just puts the NEG in a pretty tough position.
The AF's also in a tough. The AF's also in a tough position.
Yes, space key with India is a tough thing, and I think that's a problem for being included in the res.
What's the status of U.S. and India non-space related technological cooperation?
Robust.
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
a fair
I think
amount.
I
so.
don't know.
From none to a lot. I don't mind.
Pretty soon, 9 hours ago.
Yeah, and it is the AF will try to ride around cooperation now, but we still have an advantage, and the negative will have to deal with that issue.
My sense is, and this also comes from talking to people in DC who do space stuff, that the controversy as it pertains to U.S. cooperation in space is about Russia and China, and if there needs to be another country, that India would be next, but that it is not on the same level of there are people on both sides of this who have, proposals and feelings and write cards.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I do get it's next, because just like when reading the Argentina stuff, even the concern is how it interacts with China.
Yeah, and a lot of the India concern is how does it interact with China? Is it
It's also a little weird because we're on the wrong side of uniqueness for U.S. cooperating with China or not advertising China.
Anyone have any questions about India? I would include it if we want to get bigger than Russia and China.
Well, didn't the topic authors say they want at least one resolution that includes it?
Did
They did not have a
I think they're
resolution.
consistent in theirs.
I thought every resolution they had just said Russia, China, India.
I think there was some communication on Facebook where
Yeah.
they said something about India being pushed by a number of people.
Like one time.
Yeah, one time. Yeah, it's not
one
like.
card.
Don't disagree, but I'm saying.
I don't think
I'm
it's
not saying
power.
just because it's topic paper. I'm saying after that
Yeah.
they have.
So after the community had voted on
Yes.
the list of 10 resolutions that all included
There was a
Russia, China,
discussion
and
about
India.
how they thought at least one of them should include India.
I do think at least one should include.
I agree with that.
That's all. That's all I'm trying to throw. I'm not saying all of them need to.
Yeah, I will say there's also some work being done that Adrian and I are doing that
Okay.
doesn't specify the countries that
Right.
would
Okay.
also include India, because I was gonna say, one of the issues where India seems much more ripe is this ASATs issue.
Yeah.
Like the lack of international legal norms
Okay.
on how to deal with ASATs. I'm just literally putting solvency cards together now for sort of one of those type resolutions.
Yeah.
Where you get to talk about India, so.
Okay. I feel like we've talked about countries enough.
But in a way that I think avoids the issue, because it wouldn't just be India. You could make an international law about ASATs. So you couldn't,
Oh, probably
you couldn't just say, nah, you need
Yeah,
to
that's,
cooperate with India.
that's gonna be a while.
Yeah, the final is tomorrow. Oh, countries.
Yeah, I was just
yeah,
gonna write
yeah,
some
yeah.
countries up here. That's a nice little white
Yeah.
for me to kind of write stuff
For
on.
possible inclusion rates.
So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, good, good.
Yes.
We move forward.
China, correct?
Yeah.
It's a 9-0.
Yeah, 9-0 China.
Yeah.
Oh, what I'm saying.
I guess we have to put Russia up there unless anyone wants one topic that's just space co-op with China.
There might be somebody that wants at least one of those on the res.
I think that'd be okay. Willing to entertain that
Yeah, I'm
possibility.
fine with the
Yeah.
China option.
Yeah.
Here, I'll take the 9 of your vote.
Oh my God.
Is Russia in every topic?
I'm asking why are we making that decision right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Because we don't have to come back to countries, because we waste so much time coming back to conversations we have. We have a list of this, and then we have some resolutions that aren't involved in
Right,
countries.
I don't feel like I can make a decision about this
Okay.
though
Without
until
a-
I see what the other options on the table that don't involve countries.
If-
Right, there's the.
If it's reduced restrictions or.
There's the set of.
I,
And there's the restrictions discussion.
Okay.
So I think we probably have an idea of what we like more than others, and
Yes.
maybe we can democratize the effort by pointing out to the people out there that
Yeah.
if you want something, you better give us stuff sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Like I'm willing to say I think there are three
You know,
countries that
I don't
are
want people yelling at me
pretty
tomorrow saying,
significantly
well, we didn't
likely
talk
to
about
be
whatever.
on ballots: China, Russia, India.
I also want
But
cards.
I am not willing
you know, I
to.
want-
Sure,
I would vote
that's
against
close.
Iran right now if that were the case. But those three, I think there's probably some consensus that they will each appear on a version of a resolution.
Would you be willing to have a China-only topic?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm just saying that I don't think we should be making a final determination on these though until we've seen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes, maybe
People
we're
out
just
there
different.
listening and they.
My
described
consent
what I
to
want.
the
Well,
China
the
topic.
internet is struggling, so
Also
live
includes
stream
Taiwan.
isn't working very well. So somebody may
We
want to
did
just put
discuss
just
It says
face
China, it doesn't say
The point
the
is we
People's
can
Republic
post
of
something
China.
If it only says
We
China,
can be
it
very
doesn't
clear
specify
about the
that China.
Yeah, I
gets-
like
How
it.
people are falling along, I wouldn't like to.
That's so rude.
Say we can put it at the top of.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm with that.
Was there any other
I'm
country
PRC.
other than Iran that was close?
Got a ran a Vietnam card last night.
Where do we land on Australia? No.
We didn't do any additional work on Australia last night, so the conversation stopped with the notes that we put up on there.
They were
That
maybe.
just tons and tons of work, co-op being done with Australia now. If there's a militarization version of the topic, it's on the list of countries that might be doing it. If it was like,
I'm not advocating for it. I
Yeah.
just want to be clear about this. Like, I think we should just put that on the document of kind of
Yeah.
roughly where we're at. And if the
Okay.
people out there want to like argue with us and produce a MEV,
I don't think we should include Australia. Space is related to our relationship with Australia. Australia is not related to our
Yeah.
involvement in space. Is
Yeah.
kind of how it's put.
someone's out there like, oh, we really wanted Egypt, then they better tell us and give us the F. But this is.
So after all that-
I like this list. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
after all that, that's where we are. A lot of talk to get to these four.
That's assuming that we're specifying the country.
obviously it's assuming we're specifying countries. Yes, when I say that let's have a final vote on the topic right now, I'm not saying like let's have a binding agreement where we're writing the resolutions and they all must include these countries and only these countries. I'm just saying like as we
I agree.
Yeah. Would love. I'm happy with United States federal government should increase space cooperation internationally. Like it's fine. That's good. Throw that one up there. I don't care.
I'll vote for that.
That's two. Anyone else?
Okay.
I don't get a vote. But I'm just making the face that she would.
If the community voted for that, by the way, that would be amazing.
What if we write in and to find aliens?
Oh, I would do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Inside
true.
or
Yeah,
outside the Earth's mesosphere, it matters.
We'll find aliens.
There seems to be more aliens within the mesosphere.
Nice.
It's true. They're flying around messing with the Navy, from what I understand.
Do not mess with the Navy.
Okay, so that's it. The countries right there. Versus the resolution. Yeah, we could have saved a lot of time. Okay. I think next I'd like to hear some more verb work up at the top. We'll take a break right here.
Your thing is not. You can't see it.
Oh yeah, your projector.
Okay. So the reduced barriers, the work we did last night on the types of cooperation.
So it's
and the militarization stuff. Make sure that that's all in the Dropbox.
Yeah, it's in the Dropbox.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
I'm gonna suggest Nick should go first because I'm not.
Okay.
Still a little.
Nick,
That's what I was scared of.
so yeah, let's do that. So Nick, you're first on the agenda, and then we'll do a militarization presentation after that. So Miles and Will. That's okay. Even if it's just sort of like, I think it's a non-starter, and then we can do that. Is that right?
Yeah.
But am I correct that y'all does that include, because we have Adrian, Hester, and Michaela also on a like types of cooperation? Is that separate from what you're
Quick summary of what he's doing.
Okay.
Stuff about various global forums we can act in to do space diplomacy type stuff.
Okay.
I was looking at, we have a jillion of the development and exploration definitions. What I was looking at was sort of development, exploration, governance. The problem is these governance articles are super dense, and I'm trying to run through them to find. So like, there's the high school folder. There's a high school folder in the Dropbox that says high school folder something something. That's got all the exploration and development. And it's also got a pile of mesosphere and whatnot.
Okay.
So that's what we're working towards, but and which is why militarization or weaponization or whatever they're calling it should go first because we might.
Okay.
I also found a few new cards about cooperation this morning too that I just put out. I wasn't assigned that, but I found it already.
No, that's great. Would you all like some? Do we want to do a longer break and go ahead and go past lunch and finish up some work on there?
That would help me, but if we could,
Yeah, I mean it's 11:30.
I'm always down for one.
Okay, let's do that. We'll go till 1.
Yeah.
Let people do the same thing we did yesterday. Lots of places around here. They should all be open. I'll double check Cox before we walk out. You can also order delivery. If anyone wants to help, anyone need stuff, like I'm happy to find some cards on the governance. That sounds interesting. So, space governance cooperation.
it's most frequently referred to as global space governance.
Love that.
And I've been doing the McGill Institute people.
Okay.
It would also probably be good if somebody else did barriers work at some point than just me, but
We all agree on
You're the
that.
barrier.
like, just saying. I think it's. I think it.
No, I think we should just vote for this, then we'll just blame it.
Yeah, I know.
All year.
What?
I'll take IUDs.
Weird.
I assume that means
Weird
something
joke.
else.
Intrauterine device.
I got it.
Thank you, guys.
It is
It is what he meant.
It is what he
It is
meant.
what he
Alright, I'm going to lunch. I'm going to lunch.